Welcome to Healer Recaps. Please like and subscribe to the channel to support me, thank you very much. A container just left the port, unexpectedly filled with dollars inside. Its owner is Lucas, the mastermind behind an international money laundering network. He charges a 3% transportation fee, meaning with each container, Lucas makes $50 million. He is at the peak of his life, but just 2 years ago, Lucas was a poor student, taking the bus to school every day. Then an opportunity came. That day, an overweight man with a heart condition couldn't fly and urgently needed to get to a place 1,000 kilometers away. Lucas immediately accepted the job to drive him. With the desperate determination of a poor student, Lucas drove 1,000 kilometers overnight. The overweight man arrived on schedule and met with a blonde-haired woman. A while later, the man came out and gave Lucas $20,000, marking the turning point in his life as a transporter. Lucas, being very clever, realized they were up to something shady, so he took a risk and approached the blonde-haired woman. "I don't know what you are doing, but I can do it better than the fat man earlier, and he's stealing from you." The blonde-haired woman found Lucas intriguing and went inside to count the money, indeed finding a shortage. She returned and asked Lucas what he could do. Lucas said he was an excellent driver, and thus, he got the job. Every day, he drove money for the organization, not forgetting to steal some cash from the suitcases. The recipient was a bald man who never bothered to count the money. And so, Lucas became a money transporter. But trouble soon arose. Today, while delivering money, he was stopped by the police, who demanded to check the trunk. Lucas froze in place, but ultimately had to let the police open the trunk. The money-filled suitcase was quickly found. Lucas lied about having just sold a house, but the police didn't believe him. They were about to arrest him, but Lucas, being stubborn, threatened to call the embassy for help, forcing the police to back off. Unexpectedly, the blonde-haired woman revealed it was just a test, and the two policemen were their people. Since Lucas passed the test, he was rewarded handsomely and gained the blonde-haired woman's trust. That night, Lucas flew her plane overnight, and the next day, she introduced Lucas to the big boss, a veteran money launderer. From then on, Lucas's orders grew larger, with the amount of money and commissions skyrocketing, even transporting briefcases of diamonds. In reality, they pretended to buy diamonds to transfer money to Switzerland. Through a Swiss bank, dirty money quickly turned clean, then laundered through a bald man. The bald man had connections with many high-ranking officials, and his business circle knew about city planning in advance. Thus, dirty money was used to build skyscrapers and urban areas. Real estate money skyrocketed, and Lucas didn't want to remain a foot soldier anymore. He kept courting the bald man's daughter, which annoyed him, leading to a warning for Lucas to know his place. Lucas thought his whole life would only involve transporting money. One day, while dining at a luxurious restaurant, he noticed an old man with a young girl, finding it amusing. To his surprise, upon watching TV at home, Lucas realized the old man was the city mayor. A bold idea struck him, and the next day Lucas went to the restaurant where the mayor was with the young girl, bribing a janitor to get the mayor's room key. Lucas secretly entered the room to install a hidden camera to record the mayor and the young girl, capturing their intimate moments on the bed. Lucas teamed up with his friend Johann, a skilled martial artist, making their partnership even more effective. The next day, Lucas and Johann met the mayor at a party and showed him the secret video. Lucas didn't blackmail the mayor, he simply requested to open a branch for dirty money transfers in the area. Fearing the video would damage his reputation and seeing the financial benefits, the mayor agreed. The mayor introduced Lucas to all the city leaders, officially integrating Lucas into the upper echelon. Lucas's rapid rise caught the attention of international police. Meanwhile, Lucas was presenting his money laundering plan to high-ranking officials, with the mayor vouching for him. The mayor claimed Lucas was his nephew and very skilled in money laundering, making him trustworthy. In no time, Lucas had his own money laundering network, earning an unimaginable amount daily. The blonde woman, aware of this, was not angry, but warned Lucas to be cautious of the big boss. The blonde woman, once his boss, had now become Lucas's lover. A year later, Lucas brought many gifts home for his family, flaunting a huge gold chain that astonished everyone. His poor parents in the countryside still didn't know how he had become so wealthy. His father warned him that making money too easily could mean breaking the law. Lucas retorted that he'd rather be rich than poor like his father, leading to a huge argument. Lucas had sunk too deep to back out and continued courting the bald man's daughter. Lucas wanted to marry her to enter high society, but the bald man interrupted their conversation, warning Lucas not to steal his clients and threatening him to leave the country. As Lucas and Johann drove away, a large vehicle suddenly blocked their path. Several thugs armed with weapons smashed their car windows, threatening Lucas to leave the city immediately, and then stole his car. Lucas and his friend had to walk home. After some thought, Lucas decided to change his strategy. The next day, he directly approached the bald man, proposing that the bald man stay out of his business in exchange for 30% of the profits. Seeing the benefit, the bald man agreed but demanded Lucas stay away from his daughter. The two rivals shook hands and began to cooperate. With peace of mind, Lucas expanded his money laundering network, handling tons of money daily. With the abundance of money, Lucas indulged in luxury, frequenting bars with beautiful women. One day, his former boss visited, seeing Lucas in a disheveled state, and advised him to slow down, warning that he would lose everything if he continued like this. Lucas, enraged, shouted, "I can spend my money however I want." The blonde woman then revealed bad news. Lucas's rapid expansion of his money laundering network had drawn police attention, and several of their henchmen had been arrested. Lucas's face turned pale as he begged the blonde woman for guidance. She simply told him to be careful and left. Lucas snorted some white powder to clear his mind and immediately conceived an earth-shattering plan to defeat his enemies and escape the law. The next day, he went to the nightclub to meet the bald man's daughter, proposing to date her, and then directly approached two agents who were monitoring him, requesting to meet the chief of police. Lucas went to meet the police officer in charge of the international money laundering case. He discovered that all the key players in the network were under surveillance. Naturally, the police knew that the ringleader was the bald guy. Lucas proposed that he would help the police gather evidence against the criminals, in exchange for his own immunity. The police chief immediately agreed. Lucas had a perfect plan ready. Once the bald guy was arrested, the entire money laundering network would be his. To avoid retaliation from the bald guy, Lucas told Johann to lay low in the countryside for a while. Lucas then rented a private plane to date the bald guy's daughter. They flew straight to France to establish an alibi. Sure enough, within the 2 weeks he was abroad, the money laundering network in Spain was exposed, and many high-ranking officials were arrested. The mayor and the bald guy were also caught. Seeing this news, Lucas quickly returned to Spain to expand his money laundering network. He met with the blonde woman's boss to discuss cooperation, but the boss refused, advising him to let things settle down first. This was a sincere piece of advice, but the impulsive Lucas didn't listen. He continued his operations, earning a lot of money during this time, but also spending it extravagantly. Whatever he earned, Lucas spent immediately. One day, Lucas received news that his father had passed away. He hurried back to his hometown, but still didn't make it in time to see his father one last time. The global economic crisis of 2008 hit, plunging the world into hardship, with stalled economies and no business transactions. Lucas returned to his hometown with nothing. While out eating, he noticed a group of Chinese collecting protection money. Realizing it was an opportunity, Lucas borrowed a friend's car to follow the two Chinese men, discovering they were delivering money to their boss. Every night, dozens of backpacks full of money were brought to the warehouse, clearly a huge opportunity. Lucas visited the mayor in prison, asking him about the Chinese money laundering methods. The mayor explained that they imported goods at extremely low fake prices to evade taxes, and the difference was transported individually through customs, hidden in the bottoms of suitcases or stuffed animals. Typically, only 1 out of 10 shipments was caught. If Lucas could find a way to cooperate with the Chinese boss to transport money, he would surely become wealthy. To thank the mayor, Lucas promised to support his family. Lucas immediately shared this news with the blonde woman. Her clients were holding a lot of money in Switzerland, and with the ongoing economic crisis, they needed to withdraw cash. The two went to meet the Chinese boss, proposing to transfer money from Switzerland to his account in China, with the Chinese boss's cash being sent back to Spain. The Chinese boss quickly received the money, and the agreement between the two parties was immediately effective. Lucas once again reached the peak of his life, handling dirty money by the tons every day. But just as things were going smoothly, the bald guy unexpectedly got out of prison after only 6 months. He probed Lucas, accusing him of tipping off the police. Lucas couldn't keep his cool, making the bald guy certain that he was the traitor. The bald guy decided to eliminate Lucas and hired a mysterious hacker to work for him. The next day, the blonde woman read the newspaper with a panicked expression. It contained all their money laundering accounts and a list of their clients. She and Lucas knew it was the work of the mysterious hacker the bald guy had hired. They quickly fled to avoid being caught. Soon after, they realized the police were chasing them. It was difficult, but Lucas managed to shake off the police, only to be captured at an intersection by a group of Chinese men and taken to their base. At that moment, the Chinese boss appeared. He suspected Lucas of leaking information to the police and ordered his men to pull out their guns to execute them. Lucas quickly persuaded him, saying that the police would soon raid the place. The urgent task now was to move all the cash from Spain back to China, and Lucas would personally handle the last money transfer. With no other choice, the Chinese boss agreed. The money was quickly loaded into a container. Lucas invited the blonde woman to join him, but she declined because she was old enough to be his mother. The container soon arrived at Hong Kong port. Finally, the money safely reached the base in China. The total amount in the container was $5 billion, not a penny short. Lucas got 3%, which was $150 million. As soon as he got the money, Lucas started spending lavishly. While partying with some pretty girls, the police stormed in and arrested him. Lucas met the same police officer from before. He tried to use the same trick, offering the police chief $50 million in cash to drop the charges, but the police chief refused. He said he would reduce the sentence if Lucas exposed the Chinese money laundering network. Soon, a raid on the Chinese network took place, and the Chinese boss was also arrested. The film is based on a true event. Lucas was sentenced to 20 years in prison. His final message to the youth is to subscribe to Healer Recaps and not let greed lead them astray. This is the end of the video. Goodbye, and see you again.